And we're going to be examining this today just to see how one party has been doing what, preparing themselves, looking forward to this election nearing, and seeing how they can win the hearts of Nigerians to trust them and to vote for them. At the moment, we have the All Progressive Congress, APC, in power in Nigeria, being led by President Muhammadu Buhari. Their presidential candidate is no other person than Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a former senator of the Federal Republic, who is now their party candidate. Also, for the leading opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, we have the Waziri of Adamawa, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who is the flag bearer for that party. Both candidates have chosen their running mate. Also, we have someone like Alhaji Rabiu Kwakunso for the NNPP. We have Mr. Peter Obi for the Labour Party. He was the vice presidential candidate with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar at the last election. But today on the show, we will be focusing on one party. And which party will it be? It is the People's Democratic Party. The People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, which has the Waziri of Adamawa, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, as the candidate, and Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State as the running mate. A lot is going on. There's been so many debates since that convention, the presidential primaries that happened earlier on in the year. A lot have been said. People have said, oh, it should have been Wike, who is the governor of Rivers State, but then we've got Okowa, and so many things are happening. And that's why today on the show we will be focusing on what exactly the PDP is all about in this coming election in 2023. As you know, on the show, I always allow the guests to introduce themselves, but we will not get to that yet because I just want to give us a bit of background into this. So the PDP now has been in existence since 1998, and they ruled Nigeria from 1999 to 2015. Am I correct? 2015, yes. And at 2015, APC took over. That was when President Goodluck Jonathan lost that election to President Muhammadu Buhari, and Muhammadu Buhari became the president then. And since then, we've had another election in 2019 where President Muhammadu Buhari again won against his main opposition, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Now, if you have been following the politics of Nigeria for decades, especially when we got back into this democratic time, or even before, even if you go back as 1991, you will have known that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has been part and parcel of the top politicians in Nigeria for decades now. And I mean, we remember the story of how he ran in that primaries of the SDP against late MKO Abiola for the ticket of that party then. And then we remember how he was actually elected to be the governor of Adamawa State when he was then called upon to be the running mate for President Olusegun Obasanjo, and they both ran the country from 1999 to 2007 before late Yar'Adua took over, and then the rest is history. So without any further ado, I would love to bring on my guest for today, whom I know most of you have been waiting for. And if I just say hello, guest, how are you? Hello, can you hear us? Okay, I think we're just trying to check what is happening there to the audio of the guest. I mean, if some of you have seen that face, you know who that guest is. But I'm not going to tell you who the guest is. I will just wait for him to come on the show because we've got some very, 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 very important questions to ask today. And then I think he is in position to be able to answer some of it for us. And we also see as the elections gets closer how we try to bring other parties representative from the APC, from the Labour Party, to the NNPP to come and tell us more. Why should Nigerians pay attention to their parties? Why should Nigerians in diaspora talk to their people back at home to vote for any of these parties? And that's what we're looking at. This is a country now that insecurity is as very, very is a great challenge to the people of the nation. The economy is in tatters. We're looking at how to bring that back up. Many things are going wrong. And with today we will say the youth generation we have today now, some say they are the Sorosoke, the speak out or speak up generation. But recently, most of them have become what we call the Jackpot generation. And Jackpot means to just exit or go on exile from the country. So these are the things we are looking at. There's a lot of questions to be asked. The APC have been in charge for almost 8 years. The security of the country has become unbearable. Lately now, people even traveling between Lagos State and Edo State now, majority just want to go via air. And it's becoming, it has become, not that it's becoming, it has become a serious situation whereby farmers now can't even go to their farms really. They have to be going with heavily armored police team to visit their farms, to check on their farms because they don't want any bandits attacking them. People now even traveling on the trains, you have to watch it well. On the road is even much more dangerous. Even the rate of armed robbery, kidnapping, all of these things, they are on the up, and it's a situation where you see people even leaving jobs that we expected to be a very good job in Nigeria before now, and deciding to leave the country to come abroad, to come and look for better opportunities. And this is why we need to start asking questions of all these parties to know what exactly they have in stock for us, and ask questions about what we have been seeing and looking at in their different parties. We're trying to see if we can get our guests back on the show. Just trying to see if what's happening with the technicalities there.
Hiya. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you very much. Could you please introduce yourself to our listeners, please?
Yeah, the name is Elijah Sambo, as written there, and I'm Chairman PDP UK Chapter. Pleasure being here with you guys.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate you being here with us. Right, we know you're a busy man, and this is a busy period for you as well. So we'll get straight into it. We've seen your party. Your party has been so busy from the beginning of the year. Well, let's say from 2017 to 2019 to date. Your party has been so busy looking for a way of wrestling back the presidential seat in Nigeria back from the APC. How has that journey been so far?
Well, you see, it has not been easy, because there are so many interests and everything to protect. Interests involved and the rest of them. So it has not been an easy task for us, but thank God we have been able to scale that hurdle. We have a presidential, we have a vice presidential candidate nominated as well. All names submitted to INEC, governors, various other House of Reps, senators, assembly members, all other posts that are supposed to be vied for in the general election. Names have been submitted and all whatnot. So I know we have a handful, about one or two other places that we have a little bit of issues. But those are challenges that are associated with a political party, and I'm very, very sure that we will be able to scale to and get back on track.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, it's good to hear the news that at least everything is going as planned, except for those three places. But we won't bring the three places into this. Where we will more focus on first is the flag bearer of the PDP. That's the Waziri of Adamawa, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar.
Yeah.
How do you think this candidacy will win over the candidacy of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Well, you see, everybody have their race to run. The PDP has its race and its strategies to execute, and I believe that those are winning strategies that we have in place, that we are going to win the election. If you look at it right from convention, right from setting up and the rest of them, you will find out that PDP has always been doing things ahead of APC, unlike in a normal situation whereby the government in power leads and others follow. Italy. That one, PDP is prepared, and two, PDP leads others follow. Because we know what we're doing.
I think that the internet over there is fluctuating, and I don't know if you can still hear us. Hello, can you hear us? All right, I think the internet connectivity there of our guest is playing up. We'll just wait to see if we can reconnect him properly. Well, from what he's been saying there, you can see him talking about the PDP being the pace setter, that the PDP has been doing things ahead of the government in power, ahead of the party in power, that's the ruling party, APC, and that the PDP has submitted all names needed to the Independent National Electoral Commission for the election. They just have like 3 more spaces to fill to submit where they have some issues. But it would be good to be able to ask him some further questions because about the candidate, the presidential flag bearer, and also just speak on a few states. Just to ask a few questions. We'll see if he's able to join us back because they are begging questions about the choice of Governor Ifeanyi Okowa as the running mate for the flag bearer, that's Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, whereas many party faithfuls were hoping for a Wike to be the running mate, and we have Ifeanyi Okowa. We've heard about the rancors already. It would be good to know how the Atiku camp and the party are now coming to resolve issues with the Wike camp and make sure that things go on well there. And also just to ask a question again, because there are things that the presidential flag bearer said at the last election, which we want to know if that is still his stance, and to just see if we'll be able to get some questions, some of these questions answered. We're still waiting. Whilst we are waiting again, maybe we'll just we've got you back. Hello, can you hear me?
Is it from me?
Yes, it was from your end, but now we can hear you loud and clear again.
Sorry. Yeah,
no, that's fine. So we're just going to this question. So after the primaries, the presidential primaries, after we saw Alhaji Atiku Abubakar emerge as the flag bearer and Governor Wike coming as second, many of your party faithfuls were thinking Governor Wike would just be easily picked as maybe the campaign director or even the vice presidential candidate. But it was a surprise to see a Governor Ifeanyi Okowa being selected. What's the rationale behind it? Because a lot is being said in the media. Can you give us some clarifications onto how it's Governor Ifeanyi Okowa and not the people many were thinking of, not the person the people were thinking of? I don't know if we still have him with us. Hello? I think we are really struggling with the internet there where our guest is on the show today. But we just have to see. Can you hear us again?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so we're just asking the question if you can give us some clarifications as to how Governor Ifeanyi Okowa was chosen ahead of Governor Wike as the vice presidential candidate of your party.
Well, His Excellency Governor Wike contested to become president, to become the party flag bearer. And he had already said in the past that he was not coming out to be anybody's deputy or vice president. It was the presidency that he wanted because he believes he has something to offer the nation, which of course he does. The primaries were able to play out, and what happened. So it is not out of place that Governor Okowa became the party's vice presidential candidate when he did. I am not a party to what transpired or what happened within the committee that was set up and all that. But then the fact of the matter is that the onus lies on the party flag bearer to make a choice of his candidate, and he has chosen His Excellency Governor Okowa. I believe that is the person that he is comfortable working with, based on his whatever it is. I cannot speculate.
Okay. Well, we'll take that. We'll take that. But the other thing is, going back to 2019, when Elijah Abubakar was also the presidential flag bearer for the PDP then. There was a time when he said he was going to sell off the national asset, the NNPC. Is that still going to be part of his campaign plans for this coming election?
Well, you see, you have to put it in context.
Okay.
Of what His Excellency Elijah Atiku Abubakar was. If you look at during Obasanjo's time when he was vice president, and there was privatization of some government assets, you will find out that there is better output in those areas that some of those assets were sold, especially in telecommunications. Telecommunications now has improved so much in Nigeria, and internet service provision as well in the country. So when His Excellency Elijah Atiku Abubakar said he was going to sell especially the NNPC, I don't know why he didn't mention that one out, but that was specifically what he said. You see, people have to bear in mind that NNPC is not only the NNPC power. There are different components of NNPC that make up the NNPC. There's the liquefied natural gas, there's the refineries, there is the PPR, so many of it. So what assets of the NNPC was he talking about selling? As far as I am concerned, I will agree that the refineries should be sold. Because at the moment, they are liabilities to the country. Liability in what sense? Liability in the fact that they just accrue budget, and those are recurrent expenditure spending. They are not spending that generates. If the refinery was producing, then the government spending recurrently on it can be justified. But at the moment, it cannot be justified because it is debt liability. It is not producing. It is gulping down and gulping down huge amount of money. So if the country has to save money in order to be productive, then some of the debt assets that we have has to be. I mean, not the man is not even going to sell off everything. You get what I'm saying? You're going to sell off. The government are going to sell off some of it and manage some of it so that at least there will be productivity and the nation can save and utilize funds.
Well, I mean, just to cut in, sorry about that. I know you mentioned, I know you've just mentioned an example of, the production capacity. But if we look at the production capacity of the NNPC, it's about 2.5 million barrels per day. And that still stands as the largest production in Africa today. Now, and it's still the sixth largest in the world. So, I mean, I struggle to see why a President Atiku Abubakar now, if he wins the election, will want to privatize the refineries rather than capitalizing on how we can even increase that capacity of production.
Well, are you talking about crude production?
Yes. Well, crude production. If crude production is what is making us the money, why don't we just specialize in that and keep it up?
Yeah, but you see, that is why I tell you that there are different components of
yeah, we know we have so many subsidiaries.
Crude production is just one of it. Refining is another. Because you refine the crude that has been produced, you refine it there in the refineries. Now, production is ongoing, and what we are doing is taking out crude and bringing it to refined products. We don't need that, and that is why there is still the payment of fuel subsidy. Because the market has seen that we are bringing in refined product at a loss. Diesel is being sold at over 800 naira in Nigeria now. If we were bringing out the diesel that side, bringing out kerosene that side, bringing out jet fuel that side, bringing out petrol that side, bringing out the liquefied natural gas one side and the rest of them, you see, we have better efficiency. Even sell to meet up local consumption and even sell refined products just as we are getting it.
Well, I mean, you've given a good explanation of that. I hope the presidential candidate will be able to do that when the debates come and we start listening to the debates. Now let's move on to the insecurity issue in the country. How are we going to deal with this? How are we going to deal with this insecurity? Because many people will say, well, yes, he's been a ground politician. He's been the vice president of the country before. But we've seen a different kind of challenge now in the security in the country. What would the PDP be offering us when it comes to safety of life, property, and business or businesses?
You see, let me tell you something. The cause of insecurity in Nigeria is just one. The root cause of insecurity in Nigeria is just one.
And what's that one?
If you solve it, it dies down a natural death.
So what's that one?
Poverty. That is poverty and unemployment. An idle man, they say, is the devil's workshop.
Yeah.
If you have work that you are going how to go and buy a people on the street. If you have a viable business and a tangible workplace that you wake up in the morning and go to earn a living, and that earning sufficient to cater for your kind of lifestyle, cater for your family, cater for people around. In fact, you don't even need to cater for people around because people around have work, their own work, and they have their own money to cater for themselves.
So how do we create this work?
Who would be thinking of killing the next person? Nobody.
So how would the PDP and its presidential candidate create this when they win? I mean, what tell us about, a plan?
His Excellency has a five-point agenda, which revolves around education, restructuring, and all whatnot. The restructuring is the important component of it, because it devolves power to the various federating units to be able to chart a course of how they want to stake in the nation. There are lots and lots of things that governors within the states can do to reduce unemployment in there. One other thing that I know the PDP is very, very passionate about is Ajakuta Steel Rolling Mill. I will tell you one thing. Ajakuta Steel Rolling Mill alone can solve the whole problem in Nigeria. The whole linkage effect of a 100% capacity functioning Ajakuta Steel Rolling Mill will see us importing people, expatriates from outside into the country. Not to talk about the businesses that will feed on and off of Ajakuta Steel Rolling Mill. Fully functional Ajakuta Steel Rolling Mill. Those are some of the things that we want to put back on the scale or on the radar, so that we get them working again.
But one could ask. Sorry if I just cut in. One could ask the question that the Waziri of Adamawa was vice president of Nigeria for 8 years. He was in charge of the economy for those 8 years, and Ajakuta was there during that time. Why was it not worked on at that time?
You see, you cannot be a jack of all trades and master of none. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to, let's say, if you're making pizza or if you are frying and you have 7 pots on the fire, just imagine the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And only you know that little stick, they keep turning and turning and turning. How do you want to stir 7 pots? You get what I'm saying? That is what I'm saying. We cannot be jack of all trades and master of none. We have to take things one time or two.
Well, yeah, well, we can manage it accordingly. I keep saying the Waziri needs you in Nigeria to be with him on this campaign thing, because the answers you are giving are even more than the guys who are with him. Now, the question I want to ask is this: yeah, we can be, but you can't just be, jack of all trades. Yeah, yes, that's true. But during that time, we saw that explosion that happened in the telecommunication industry in Nigeria, which you mentioned. However, when you look at a nation like the UK, even though the telecommunication industry in the UK is also as vast as that, the national asset, which is the BT, still remains a core part of that industry. And you know what I'm talking about here, because if you're generating any number, if you're generating any new mobile number or anything, it's come from BT, except from other national carriers like Virgin, who can also do that. But one would have expected such for our NITEL back at home. And that opportunity was missed under under the Waziri as the vice president. What should we be expecting better now? Because we know the privatization agenda will come back to fore if he wins. But how do we protect the national assets?
You see, it was not lost under Waziri. And I'll tell you why. Waziri did not sell Nitel as vice president. He didn't. You have the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation there and Nigerian Telecommunication Commission here. They oversee the telecommunication sector. If there is a power tussle between the commission and Nitel, then it's a totally different thing than saying that telecommunication or the explosion in the telecommunication killed off Nitel. No, it didn't kill off Nitel. Why has the Telecommunication Commission not made Nitel competitively viable to match up with Econet, then Econet and MTN? Why? It is competition within the MDGs, and the competition within the MDGs did not start when it was privatized. It deteriorated over the years, because I remember when Waziri privatized. When the government privatized the telecommunication sector, Nitel was still a player in there. I had a Nitel line.
Well, Nitel was a player. Nitel was a player. We know that. However, the grounds for Nitel getting sold was created by the Obasanjo Atiku administration. Whether it was later then sold in 2014 or later or before then, it was. I mean, I remember the Bureau of Public Enterprise announced precisely on the 4th of December 2014 that Nitel has now become MTEL. You and I will remember that.
You see, that the thing is that if a national assets become a liability, I believe it should be sold.
But we could have actually brought in a model.
No, you see, you as a businessman will not keep liability within your organization, would you? No. So as a nation, we cannot keep liability. If Nitel had become a liability, then it should be sold off. Now, I'm not saying sell off 100% of everything. Sell off maybe 50 or 60%, keep 40% and still manage. But then you see that our problem is that we Nigerians, we are our own problem. We have to be efficient in what we do. We have to keep track of what we are given, responsibilities that we are given. We have to carry it out judiciously and do the needful. If we don't do the needful, things will always fall apart. And then we want to look for a scapegoat to blame. No, Waziri did the best that he could under the time that he operated within the limited or scarce resources that were available to him at that point in time.
Absolutely, and I believe that's why he still enjoys that popularity and support from the party membership. Because looking at the May 27 presidential primaries at Abuja, which you were at, because I still have some of your pictures and videos whilst you were there at the primaries, the Waziri won by 371 out of 767, and that's a big one. I mean, we had people like former Senate President Bukola Saraki coming a distant 7, Wike. We have the former SGF of the nation, Ayim Payozayim, and all of them. Now, the question I'm going to ask here is that how is the Waziri trying to reconcile with all of these big wigs as well in the party to make sure we have a united front for your party at the next general election?
Lion, the fact is that the election is next year. And PDP primaries, whether anybody likes it, it's a party affairs. I mean, it's a family affairs. within a family, there are siblings. You have a family that you have siblings. There will always be fallouts. But because there is a fallout, does that mean that that person is not your brother? Or does that mean that you are not going to talk to that person because you had a fallout over Chukwomilo?
But what we've not started seeing that reconciliation. That's why we're asking this question.
You see, the fact of the matter is that there will always be a little period of malice. Even husband and wife keep malice. Abi? Yeah, but the time for talking will always come. You see, the thing people mistake is that if somebody feels hurt and you try to engage that person immediately, the hurtness within the heart of that person will not allow that person to be logical or see reasons. But then if you give that person a little bit of time and he sits down and he is able to settle and think things over, then he will be able to look at things from other different perspectives or other perspective, another dimension.
The line is
when about that during that period of sober reflection, and then it will make sense to him, and then that person can come on board and then become part of the family again. He wasn't even part of the family before, but then he will be involved in that. So this is the period that PDP is going through. We are just under a period of keeping peace with ourselves, But that does not mean that we will not resolve our differences and forge ahead as a united front.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I mean, so let's look at what has happened in the ruling party at the moment. Their presidential candidate has chosen Shatima. People have started talking about a Muslim ticket at the moment. I remember there was some analysis that a lawyer made then in Punch newspaper just a day after the presidential primaries of the PDP, saying that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar becoming the presidential candidate of the PDP will be Muslim ticket. But it's all changed. It's now PDP giving a Muslim Christian ticket and the APC going Muslim. Do you think this would be a factor at all in this election?
Oh yes, definitely it's going to be a factor.
How?
At this stage of our spiritual consciousness as a nation, the permutation of a Christian or a Muslim at federal level does not arise. We have been through over 7 years of a nepotic APC government. 97 is greater than all what not. You come and have a situation whereby you should be able to at least show the true federalism character, and you chose not to. Then whose fault is it? You see, what it just shows is that APC is not willing to learn. Just as they say a leopard cannot change its skin, APC are not willing to learn. So what they have done is basically just toss it in the face of other religions to say that, look, you can do whatever you want, but this is what we want to do and this is what we're gonna do. But in a cosmopolitan system, in a cosmopolitan society like Nigeria, where over 7 years it has been fractured with so many ills of despotism, despotic rulership, nepotism, tribalism, favoritism, regionalism, and the rest of them. Then you have to be systematic. You have to show an all-embracing nature and character that the party is. But then the APC has failed to do that because that is not what they are in the first place.
Okay. So if I may ask, how is the PDP UK chapter working with the PDP Nigeria towards a successful outing at the 2023 general elections?
You see, just as we are talking now, in fact, the National Secretariat are still waiting. I mean, I have so much on my plate that they're still waiting for our plans for engagement in what we intend to do. You know, we have a lot of programs that we intend to do within the UK in conjunction with the party headquarters in Abuja, all other 36 states of the Federation plus the Federal Capital Territory to engage ourselves and make sure that we have a smooth campaign and a smooth run into leading up to the elections. I can tell you for a fact that I have verbally briefed a lot of the people that matter, especially the office of the National Secretary, of what our plans are. Well, all of my verbally, but then it has to come written officially, and that we should be able to hand in within the week. And those are not the things that I will come here and be
No.
about, because then that means I'm giving out our strategies and the rest of them. And campaign has not started.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Sure. So just to end it, because I know we've taken you a bit of time now. So there's this quote that came to surface about a month ago now from today. Yeah, about a month ago. I will read out the quote and I will just ask you a question about the quote. So it goes this way: is baby weight compared to Atiku? Atiku will defeat Tinubu before 12 noon on the presidential election day. That was a quote from Senator Dino Malaye. Do you believe that will happen? That by 12 noon, before 12 noon on the presidential election day, the Waziri will have won the election?
well, if that wasn't even a believable quote, it has been made believable now.
How? How?
If that wasn't believable before, it has been made believable now by the selection of the VP of the APC.
Okay.
That does not mean that we are going to go and sleep. No. We know what the APC are capable of. We know that their trade in stock in trade is rigging election and disrupting election and the rest of them. We are not going to sleep. We will cast our votes. We will protect our votes, and we will make sure our vote counts within legal means.
Okay. I mean, we will keep watching the space as we move towards September when the campaign will start officially. And on this note, we want to say a big thank you to you for your time and for all the views you've shared with us today. We'll know we will still be running after you when the campaign starts straight away, and we will be looking at bringing you to face, other parties representative to talk about this. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Chief Elijah Sambo, the chairman of the PDP UK Chapter. We wish your party all the best at the polls next year, and hopefully when we call on you again, we hope you'll be here for us.
Thank you very much. I am always available as long as we plan it ahead. Then it's not a problem.
Thank you very much. Thank you very.
We will always do our best to honor the invitation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. So, viewers, listeners at home, that's it with the chat with the chairman of the PDP UK chapter. We are working on getting the chairman of APC UK as well. We've been told they've got two factions, so we don't really know what's happening there. But if we don't get someone here, surely we will get someone from Nigeria to speak with you. On that note, we will be closing today's show. Next week, the topic we'll be looking at is, why should Scotland be independent? Why at all should we trust those telling us to have an independent Scotland? It will be interesting next week. Join me again at 6 p.m. UK time, and we'll be talking about that. Also, it's our 2nd year anniversary at Jambo. Celebrate it with us as we do this. It's been wonderful. This was a station we started just during the lockdown, and we're proud of ourselves, what we've achieved so far. We're on the BBC yesterday. They reported a bit about us. But if you're out there, you think you have the talent, you want to learn about one thing or the other, you have the time to volunteer for us, even if it's 1 hour or 2 hours of your time a week. Why not? Go to our website and, get in touch with us. And, surely the website is www.jamboradio.co.uk. It's right there on the screen. Get in touch, and surely your talent will be optimized. On that note, I am Lion Olusokunbi, and I have presented the Nigerian Pride today. Good evening.